As a little girl, Cynthia Garrett had dreams of being on TV. But she was sexually abused at the age of 9, which left her broken and numb for many years. In her book, Prodigal Daughter, Cynthia shares how she experienced true freedom from her past and how God opened doors for her career in television.
Super excited.
Cynthia Garrett joins us now, and thank you for being here. Your book is called Prodigal Daughter, and you know, we're going to get to that part, but one of the things that really lent your life to that direction was something that happened to you as a child. You were molested multiple times, repeatedly. How did that impact you, and how did you cope with it as a child?
Well, I think, you know, childhood sexual abuse is we cope with it as kids, I think, by shoving down the pain and the emotions of it, you know, the brokenness that occurs, you know, all those different emotional parts that, honestly, they come back to try to control your life. You know?
Definitely, again and again and again, until you figure out how to be set free, and that's what your book is really all about. You know, you had rough beginnings. You had the abuse as a child. Your parents divorced, which is also very devastating to children.
Really tough. I adored my father and my mom, so my home breaking up was, a lot of people, I think, discount how damaging divorce is.
Because we don't want to think about it.
No,
you know?
especially in the world of baby mamas and daddies that we live in, and everyone's so cavalier about the family unit.
Yes, exactly. And then you go on to get a law degree. So, I mean, all these things, as powerfully as they impacted your soul, didn't stop your drive to move forward.
Yeah, I became, you know, I read an article that said that there are two kinds of abuse survivors. They become different personality types. I became one of those classic types, classic overachiever, driven for success. And I honestly was driven to find my identity in success. So from the time I was a little girl, I would say, I want to have my own TV shows like Barbara Walters, I want to live a celebrity life, and I want to go to law school so that everyone knows I'm smart.
And you did all of that. But then there's what happened that this self-sufficient, self-believing, very motivated, highly gifted woman marries somebody who is an abusive controller, manipulator?
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, I was still chained to my childhood abuse issues, severely low self-esteem, overachiever on the outside. On the inside, I felt unlovable. I felt like God had forgotten me. Yeah. You know, I felt like sometimes I think I was actually angry with God, even though I believed in Him and loved Him. I felt like, well, why did you let these things happen to me? What's wrong with me?
Yes.
Right. Where were you? So I think on a lot of levels, I was so driven to be successful, to prove that I was worth something, because on the inside, I just didn't have any real ability to understand my own identity, and it was really lost.
It was such a, Prodigal Daughter was such an eye-opener and a reminder, I guess, more than an eye-opener to me, to not ever judge a book by its cover, because if you had seen you, as an outsider, if I had looked at you at that time in my life, I never would have known this was all going on inside of you.
You know what, Terry, it's amazing you said that. I just literally said to someone earlier, I said, I have learned in my journey never to look at someone whose life looks like a mess and judge them, because I know that there are people who looked at me 15 years ago on television, on red carpets, dressed probably completely inappropriately, and, you know, saying I was a Christian, but living a totally unsurrendered Christian life. They would have never looked at me and said, God's going to have that girl on pulpits around the world preaching the gospel, and she's going to be a voice in the body of Christ. No, she's going to be in faith-based media. No one would have ever thought that.
You know, one of the things you address in your book that you do so well is tackling the issue, which I think is so prevalent in our day. You know, Jesus said, if you love me, you'll obey me. But when it comes to physical relationships in the church, I'm not talking about the world, but in the church, we walk with one camp in the Jesus side and one foot in the world side, and we live like it's okay. Why do we do that?
I think at the end of the day, we, especially in the Western church,
Yes.
we still want to be our own gods. We're still allowing our flesh to be satisfied first, and we don't understand what it means to be servants, because nobody wants to be a servant. And you know, it's like the whole phenomenon. I meet all these young men and women of God who feel called to Hollywood. Well, why Hollywood? Who's called to the homeless people? Who's called to the poor? Who's, you know, it's just, we're sort of obsessed. You know, we've got a celebrity spirit that's actually a part of the church.
Just enough Jesus to stay out of hell, but not enough to change our lives.
Right.
Wow.
And then we get mad at him when he doesn't answer our prayers. Well, how do we walk in abundance if we don't change our lives abundantly? And
letting him do that is really what your book is all about. It's your journey from woundedness and independence and guardedness and self-sufficiency to daughter of the King. And that's quite a process, as we all know. What would your message today for those who are with us to prodigals be?
Oh my God, Isaiah 61. Only Jesus can bind up the brokenhearted and set the captives free. And that captivity is often our own emotional captivity to the issues that haunt us, our fear issues, our sadness, our depression, you know, our fear of rejection and abandonment. Those are the issues that control us, that we need freedom from.
And he's so tender and so merciful. You can learn more about Cynthia's life and career in her memoir. It's called Prodigal Daughter. It's in stores nationwide, and it'll speak to your life if you're struggling with some of these issues. Thank you for being with us. Great to have you here
God
today.
bless you.
You too. And thank you for being with us. We hope you'll join us again next time on 700 Club Interactive. God bless you.